Have you ever seen a car company tell the world that something simply cannot be repaired, only for someone outside the company to step forward and say, "Watch me do it anyway"? That is exactly the situation unfolding right now, and it has captured the attention of millions of car fans across the world. What started as a damaged Bugatti Chiron purse sport has now turned into one of the biggest repair stories the automotive community has ever seen. This is no longer just about fixing an expensive hypercar after a crash. It has become a battle over who really controls a car after it has been sold. Can the owner decide how it is repaired? Or does the manufacturer still have the final say? Those questions are now at the center of a growing conflict involving popular YouTube builder Matt Armstrong, Bugatti owner FXAlexG, and Bugatti itself. The latest updates have only made the story even more dramatic. Matt Armstrong recently shared an Instagram post showing the Chiron sitting outside CV Customs in Miami, with its front end completely stripped apart. Along with the picture, he wrote a short but powerful message saying that the impossible repair would begin this weekend. Those few words immediately caught the attention of fans because they appear to directly answer comments previously made by Bugatti CEO Mate Rimac, who had publicly explained why such a repair should not be attempted without factory support. Almost at the same time, FXAlexG posted an Instagram story that seemed just as important, although in a very different way. Standing in what looked like his garage with a Bugatti well visible behind him, he wrote that he was getting my lawyers ready for this one. While Matt's message focused on moving ahead with the rebuild, FXAlexG's post hinted that the disagreement with Bugatti could soon leave social media and enter the legal world. Together, these two posts created a wave of discussion across YouTube, Instagram, and automotive forums. Many people now believe this weekend could become one of the most important moments in the entire rebuild project. If Matt successfully completes work that Bugatti claims should not be done outside the factory, it could challenge long-held ideas about how modern hypercars are repaired. On the other hand, if unexpected problems appear, Bugatti's warnings may seem fully justified. Either outcome has major consequences, not only for the single Chiron, but also for owners of other rare and expensive vehicles. Every new update has increased the excitement because this story is no longer about replacing damaged parts. It has become a real-life test of engineering skill, determination, ownership rights, and the growing influence of independent creators who are willing to take on jobs that even large manufacturers believe should remain inside factory walls. Millions of viewers have followed every stage of the project, watching Matt Armstrong carefully take the Chiron apart while explaining each challenge in simple terms. Along the way, fans have seen damaged carbon fiber panels, missing structural components, hidden mechanical problems, and expensive systems that few people ever get the chance to examine. Each discovery has added another layer to the story, making it feel less like a normal repair and more like an engineering documentary unfolding in real time. Now, with the rebuild officially entering its most critical phase, the pressure has never been greater. Supporters believe Matt is about to prove that skill, experience, and determination can overcome even the biggest obstacles, while critics argue that Bugatti's warnings exist for good reasons and should not be ignored. With legal questions, technical challenges, and the reputation of one of the world's most famous car manufacturers all hanging in the balance, the next stage of this incredible journey could change far more than the future of a single Bugatti. After the excitement created by those Instagram posts, many people began asking the same question. Why has this rebuild become such a huge issue in the first place? After all, damaged supercars and hypercars are repaired every year. Insurance companies, specialist workshops, and experienced mechanics deal with expensive crash repairs all the time. So why is this Bugatti Chiron different? The answer lies in the car itself and in Bugatti's very strict approach to servicing and repairs. The Chiron is not just another luxury sports car. It is one of the most advanced road cars ever built, designed with incredible attention to detail and engineered to perform at levels that very few vehicles can match. Every part of the car has been carefully developed to work together, from its powerful quad-turbocharged W16 engine to its advanced suspension system, carbon fiber body, cooling systems, and electronics. Because of this complexity, Bugatti has always believed that only factory-approved technicians using special tools and official procedures should carry out major repairs. The company argues that this is not simply about protecting its reputation, but about ensuring that every repaired car meets the same safety and performance standards as it did when it left the factory. From Bugatti's point of view, a mistake during a structural repair could affect the way the car behaves at extremely high speeds, and that could put drivers at serious risk. These concerns became public when mate Rimac discussed the damaged Chiron and explained why certain repairs should only be performed with factory support. His comments quickly spread across the internet, and many people accepted them as reasonable because Bugatti has decades of experience building some of the fastest and most expensive cars in the world. However, others saw the situation very differently. They argued that once someone legally purchases a vehicle, they should have the freedom to decide where and how it is repaired, especially if qualified experts are carrying out the work. This disagreement is what transformed the rebuild from an interesting YouTube project into a much larger debate about ownership rights and the future of independent repair. Matt Armstrong did not respond with angry statements or online arguments. Instead, he continued documenting the project step by step, allowing viewers to see every challenge as it appeared. That approach helped build trust with his audience because people were watching the work happen rather than simply listening to opinions. Every video showed careful planning, detailed inspections, and honest discussions about problems that still needed solutions. Instead of pretending the repair would be easy, Matt openly admitted when certain parts seemed impossible to replace, or when new damage was discovered during the teardown. This transparency made many viewers believe that he was genuinely trying to find safe and practical solutions rather than taking unnecessary risks for entertainment. As the project progressed, more automotive professionals began sharing their own thoughts online. Some supported Bugatti's cautious position, pointing out that modern hypercars are incredibly complex machines with very little room for error. Others praised Matt's willingness to challenge accepted limits, arguing that skilled engineers have solved difficult problems throughout automotive history without factory assistance. This growing discussion reached far beyond YouTube comments, appearing on automotive websites, podcasts, and social media platforms where enthusiasts debated every new update. Each side believed it had strong arguments, and every new photo or video seemed to add more evidence for one position or the other. By the time Matt announced that the impossible repair would begin over the weekend, expectations had reached an entirely new level. People were no longer watching simply to see whether a damaged Bugatti could be repaired. They were watching because the outcome might influence how manufacturers, repair shops, collectors, and owners think about high-end vehicle repairs in the future. What happens inside that workshop could eventually become part of a much larger conversation that extends well beyond the single Chiron, making every stage of the rebuild feel more important than the last. As the rebuild moved closer to its most important stage, attention shifted from social media posts to the actual condition of the Bugatti Chiron itself. The latest images shared by Matt Armstrong gave viewers a much clearer look at what his team was preparing to face. At first glance, the car looked almost unrecognizable compared to the beautiful purple hypercar that had once turned heads wherever it went. The rear section still carried its striking purple wrap, reminding everyone what the finished car was supposed to look like. But the entire front of the vehicle had been stripped down to its bare structure. Carbon fiber body panels were gone. Major components had been removed, and many of the car's internal systems were now fully exposed. To an average person, the Chiron looked like a project that might never return to the road. To experienced builders, however, this stage represented something different. Before any serious repair can begin, every damaged part must be removed so the true condition of the vehicle can be examined. Hidden cracks, bent mounting points, and damaged support structures are often impossible to find until everything has been taken apart. That is exactly why Matt's careful teardown attracted so much respect from people who understood complex vehicle repairs. Rather than rushing to replace visible parts, he appeared determined to understand every detail of the damage before making important decisions. This careful approach also allowed viewers to appreciate just how complicated a Bugatti really is. Unlike ordinary cars, where replacing a damaged bumper or radiator may be relatively straightforward, almost every component inside the Chiron has been specially designed to fit within an incredibly tight space. Engineers packed massive cooling systems, advanced electronics, suspension components, and aerodynamic structures together with almost no wasted room. Every millimeter matters. Moving one part often requires removing several others first, which explains why even simple maintenance on these cars can take many hours. Among the most talked about discoveries was the missing aluminum horseshoe structure located at the front of the car. Although many viewers had never heard of this component before, automotive experts quickly explained why it plays such a critical role. It is far more than a piece of metal holding body panels in place. It helps support important structural loads, provides mounting locations for suspension and cooling components, and contributes to the precise alignment that allows the Chiron to perform safely at extremely high speeds. Replacing such a part is not as simple as ordering a new one from a catalog. According to previous reports, Bugatti would not supply this component for the rebuild, leaving Matt and his team with the difficult task of finding another solution. That challenge alone became one of the biggest talking points surrounding the entire project. Supporters argued that talented fabricators build custom race cars, restoration projects, and even aircraft components every day, proving that highly skilled engineering exists outside factory walls. Critics, however, warned that recreating a structural component for one of the fastest production cars ever made is an entirely different level of responsibility. At the same time, viewers noticed that all four front radiators appear to have suffered damage as well. These were not ordinary cooling parts that could easily be replaced with aftermarket alternatives. Each radiator is shaped to fit the Chiron's unique design while managing the enormous amount of heat produced by its powerful engine and other systems. Finding suitable replacements would require careful research, specialist suppliers, or custom manufacturing. Carbon fiber panels also presented another major challenge because they would need to match the original fit, strength, and appearance with incredible precision. Even a small alignment problem could affect the way the finished car looked or how air flowed around it at speed. Every new image from the workshop reminded viewers that this was not simply a repair job, but an engineering puzzle made up of hundreds of interconnected pieces. With the teardown now complete and fabrication work about to begin, the real test of Matt Armstrong's experience, patience, and problem-solving ability was finally about to start, and millions of people were waiting to see whether the project could move from careful planning to successful execution. vidIQ. While the damaged front structure attracted most of the attention, many experienced mechanics believe that an even bigger challenge could be hiding deeper inside the Bugatti Chiron. During earlier updates, Matt Armstrong mentioned that the car had been showing transmission fault codes, and those few words immediately caught the attention of people who understand how expensive and complicated Bugatti's drivetrain really is. Cosmetic damage can usually be repaired with enough time, money, and skilled craftsmanship, but problems involving the transmission are an entirely different matter. The Chiron's drivetrain was designed to handle the incredible power produced by its famous quad-turbocharged W16 engine, which delivers performance that only a handful of production cars have ever achieved. Every gear change happens with remarkable speed and precision, allowing the car to accelerate with almost unbelievable force while remaining smooth and stable. Building a transmission capable of handling that level of power requires extremely advanced engineering, and repairing one is far beyond the abilities of an ordinary repair shop. This is one of the reasons Bugatti has always insisted that major mechanical work should be carried out using factory-approved equipment and specially trained technicians. Previous public comments from Mate Rimac added even more weight to this issue. He explained that accessing certain drivetrain components requires separating major sections of the vehicle using specialized tools and procedures available only at a very limited number of facilities. Whether people agree with that position or not, it highlighted just how different the Chiron is from ordinary performance cars. If Matt eventually needs to inspect or repair the gearbox without relying on Bugatti's official network, it will become one of the strongest examples yet of independent specialists attempting work that many believe could only be completed inside the factory system. Naturally, this possibility has created intense curiosity among viewers. Some are confident that experienced engineers can overcome the challenge through careful planning and modern manufacturing techniques. Others believe that certain factory procedures exist for important reasons and should not be replaced with alternative methods. Until the rebuild reaches that stage, nobody outside the workshop knows exactly what will happen. That uncertainty has become one of the biggest reasons people continue following every update. Each new video has the potential to answer one question, while creating several new ones. If the transmission proves to be healthy, the rebuild immediately becomes much simpler. If serious internal damage is discovered, however, the entire project could become more expensive, more time-consuming, and far more technically demanding than anyone originally expected. At the same time, Matt has continued to build confidence among his audience by showing his willingness to investigate every problem rather than rushing toward quick conclusions. Instead of making dramatic promises, he has generally allowed the condition of the car to speak for itself. This approach has earned him respect because viewers can see the evidence with their own eyes instead of relying only on speculation. Every bolt removed, every damaged component examined, and every unexpected discovery has helped build a clearer picture of what the project truly involves. That transparency also makes each success feel more meaningful because the audience understands how much work has gone into reaching that point. As the weekend rebuild approaches, the transmission remains one of the biggest unanswered questions hanging over the entire project. Even if the structural repairs are completed successfully, the Chiron cannot return to the road unless every major mechanical system performs exactly as intended. That means the rebuild is not simply about making the car look complete again. It is about restoring the performance, reliability, and safety expected from one of the world's most advanced hypercars. Whether the gearbox becomes a minor obstacle or the project's greatest challenge, it will likely play a major role in determining whether this ambitious rebuild becomes one of the greatest success stories in YouTube automotive history, or one of the most difficult engineering lessons ever documented on camera. vidIQ. While Matt Armstrong continued preparing for the most difficult stage of the rebuild, another important part of the story was developing away from the workshop. Instead of sharing photos of damaged parts or fabrication work, FXAlexG chose a completely different approach that immediately changed the conversation. His Instagram story was short, but the message behind it was impossible to ignore. Standing in what appeared to be his garage with a Bugatti well visible in the background, he wrote that he was getting my lawyers ready for this one. Those few words spread quickly across social media because they suggested that the disagreement with Bugatti might no longer remain limited to public comments and online discussions. Until then, most people viewed the situation as a conflict between a determined YouTube builder and a manufacturer that believed its repair procedures should be followed. FXAlexG's post introduced another possibility entirely: the chance that the issue could eventually become a legal dispute. Although no lawsuit had been announced, the statement encouraged people to ask important questions about ownership, repair rights, and the responsibilities of luxury car manufacturers after a vehicle has been sold. At the center of the debate is a simple question that sounds easy, but becomes much more complicated when applied to a multi-million-dollar hypercar. If someone legally buys a vehicle, should they have the freedom to repair it however they choose, provided qualified professionals perform the work? Many people believe the answer is yes. They argue that ownership should include the right to maintain, restore, or rebuild a vehicle without depending entirely on the original manufacturer. Others believe companies like Bugatti have valid reasons for controlling access to certain parts and repair procedures, especially when public safety and the company's reputation are involved. A car capable of extremely high speeds places enormous demands on every structural and mechanical component. From Bugatti's point of view, allowing unapproved repairs could create risks of